it's time to do those things, right? So I'm always talking, and we talk on our show. We have a mental health moment every show where we talk about things like breathing and all of that. But then when the rubber meets the road and it's time to do it, we don't do it. I don't do it. So can you kind of lead us through this so that we can have an accessible place to say this is what this looks like, feels like, and remember that how it makes us feel on the other side of it.
Yeah, you want to do it right now? Is that what you're
I
saying?
do. Yes.
You're
Yes.
gonna do it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Like now.
Is everybody ready? Does everybody want to just take a sit? If you're standing, and I know somebody said that they were cooking. If you could just, I don't know, maybe take that pan off the burner for a second, and we can have you join us. And if you're driving, do not do this. um, so let's just close our eyes. Let's just close our eyes. And I'm going to guide you on how this practice works. But one of the most important parts of what I find to be an inward meditation is that we close our eyes, that we can kind of signal to our brain that we're ready to focus on our inward experience. And that's kind of also going back to acknowledging that everything is within us and that we have the choice on how we feel. And so if you could just for a second, see if you can start to really listen to the way that I'm speaking. So go from hearing Millana's voice to listening to my voice. Maybe for the first time, you're noticing my accent. Maybe you're noticing my pacing. But just let yourself just listen, because one of the things that we can do when we start to practice meditation is to use our sensory system to help us become more and more present. So can you just listen to the words that I'm saying, but also listen to maybe the birds in the background, cars, people talking. And instead of trying to make everything silent or perfect, this meditation that I'm about to show you is letting all of that come in. And in fact, if you hear like a lawnmower or somebody yelling or an ambulance, I want you to invite that sound into your experience. So you're listening to it. Okay? Great. Now, just as you're listening to my voice, notice how you're breathing. Just how are you breathing? Are you breathing shallow in your chest? Because when we were running from bears in ancient times, or tigers or lions, our body learned to breathe shallow. And that's the way that we have evolved to be in a stuck place of survival. So let's just notice if you're breathing from your chest instead of down into your lower belly, which is a comfortable, safe breath where your body and your brain are reminded that everything is safe. So just notice that and come back to listening again as you notice your breath. So I'm going to show you how to do this breath work by telling you with your eyes closed. It's a 3-part breath. You're going to breathe in 2 times and you're going to breathe all through your mouth. So the way that it goes, and you can practice as you listen, is you're going to breathe through your mouth into your lower belly so that your belly balloons out. And then you're going to take a second breath into the chest, and then you exhale out through the mouth. So it's going to sound like this. Or you could go faster if you want, or even slower. So keep that on repeat as you're listening, because what we want to do here is we want to drop down into our lower bellies, which literally is telling our instinctual brain, I'm okay. Everything's safe. You don't have to panic. You don't have to run. I'm relaxed. And when you breathe into that upper chest, you're literally saying to the heart and the mind, we're going to give you more oxygen. We're going to support you so that you can do more of your work, heart, more blood cells with oxygen, brain. And then you exhale it out. So continue that breath, and we're going to come back to that drop-in, just like we did in the very beginning of this program. And that is, how am I thinking? Because sometimes we have thoughts, but they're not actually how we feel. Sometimes there's a disconnect there. So turn your listening from listening to the outside world to listening to your thoughts. Even if it's just for a second, what are you thinking right now as you continue to breathe? As you continue to breathe, what am I thinking? Now, sometimes people will say, Oh, I'm thinking I don't like the way this is going, or I'm thinking I need to go and finish this, or I forgot to call this person back. Whatever that is, notice it. Be right with that. Notice that this is a pattern. Keep breathing with your mouth open into the lower belly, into the heart, exhaling out. So, what I find with this breath work is that it is a metaphor for our lives. How we do one thing is how we're doing all things. So, as I'm speaking to you, what are your thoughts? Because if you go off of that premise that everything is a microcosm, a small picture of the bigger picture, then one might say the way that you're treating this experience might be how you're being in other experiences in your life. So just notice that. No judgment, just breathe. Keep going, breathing into the lower belly, into the heart, exhaling out. Keep going. Now we're going to shift our awareness to how we feel. So instead of thinking, how do I feel? I'm going to ask you to ask yourself inwardly, how do I feel? And then feel how you feel as you continue to breathe. How do I feel? Let yourself breathe into that with your mouth open the entire time. How do I feel? Drop out of your brain and down into your feeling body. How do I feel? Keep going. We're almost done. You can't do this wrong. Just keep going. Even if you feel frustrated or you feel like you could be doing something else, I want you to feel that, because this is the picture that we need to see. How you feel and how you think are often tied. But sometimes we're not thinking in a way that supports us feeling well. So we're going to start to just look at how these things can be tied and how they can be separate. So continue to breathe into your lower belly, into your heart, exhaling out. We're going to move into the last part. What stories am I telling myself that have me feeling stuck in a feeling that I do not want? So what stories are you playing over and over again? Continue. And I want you to breathe into that, because that has a lot of power. Some of us are telling stories, man, I'm always struggling. Why am I always struggling? Breathe into that. All through your mouth, nothing through your nose. Well, is that a story that you want to keep on telling? Because the more that we tell this story, the more that we become our stories. So let's breathe into that. Let's exhale out that story. So if that story resonates with anyone, man, I'm always struggling. I want you to exhale that out. Let that energy, let that feeling, let those thoughts move through you. That's a thought, that's a story that I will now choose differently. I will release that story. Beautiful. Keep going. Maybe another story is I have to always do things by myself. I'm out here all alone. I want you to breathe into that. Exhale it out. Now, if you're starting to get some tears that are starting to bubble up in your eyes, I want you to let those go, because that is a way that we shed this energy. So let that come up. Some of you are maybe even really starting to cry even more deeply. I want you to let that up. It's the way our body releases toxic hormones. So we need to allow our body to have the grace to release the energy, but also release the actual hormones from our body. Let's keep breathing. There's another story that we often tell ourselves. It's not fair. It's not fair. Well, does that story serve me? Let's breathe into that. What is your story? I want you to look at it without judgment. Just notice as you breathe. And if anything comes up for you, anger, fear, sadness, self-defeat, I want you to feel that. Feel it so you can let it move through. Exhale it out. Keep going, because we're going to transition it into something else right now. So, what is a story that you want to live by? What is a reality that you want to experience? Because I will tell you right now, the story that you tell yourself is the story that you will live. Some of us are not aware of the stories that are playing in our minds because we don't take the time to stop and listen. Often these stories come from our mothers. Often these stories come from the news. Often these stories are from our neighbors that tell us how bad it is out here. We need to look at these stories because the stories that we tell ourselves, or whether we know it or not, is the reality that we will create for ourselves. We are that powerful. Breathe into that. Let that emotion come up. The more that you let that emotion come up, the more you can literally release that experience in your life and in your body because it has impact on your body, on your mind. Breathe into that. So, what is the story that you want to believe in? Even if you're just reaching for it right now, I'm here with you because I'm telling you, if you let yourself feel this and you let yourself know that that is also possible for you, then that's a reality that you can create. Breathe into that. I've got some stories for you that might be helpful. I am never alone. I am always protected. Things always work out for me. Breathe into that. I know that even when things are hard, that somehow I learned from that experience and I can finally come to my own healing. Breathe into that. I know that it is my birthright to be healthy, to be whole, to be prosperous. Breathe into that no matter how close you feel that feeling. I want you to reach for that feeling and breathe into it. Let those stories resonate for just 3 more breaths of the practice with your eyes still closed. After you do that, I want you to come back to your normal everyday breath. Let the stories that you want to live be the ones that you let play because you made the choice. When you start to believe that it is your birthright to be free, to be well, to be prosperous no matter what, then you will take every action in your life to line up with that knowing that is inside of you. So you want to feel it before you open your eyes. Just be in your regular breath now. Just feel how this energy feels in you. Maybe you feel a little heavy. Some of you feel heavy because you're like, damn, I didn't know I was carrying all that. I didn't even realize I was carrying my mother's pain. I didn't even realize I was carrying my child's fear. I didn't realize that my community's fear was constantly playing in my mind. Some of us also are feeling like, dang, oh my goodness, I realize now that if I just could feel a little bit different, new ideas come, new possibilities. Oh, I need to move. New opportunities. Oh, I need to call Sarah. I need to call Keisha. These things start to come to our minds because we allow ourselves to open up to what's possible when we tell a different story, the story that we want to live. Start to move your fingers and your toes. And before you open your eyes, I want to invite you to set an intention. Set that intention. You literally just changed your perspective by changing your breath. And when you change your perspective, it will change your actions. And when you change your actions, you will change your life. No matter what is happening around you, you are that powerful. So set that intention. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you. Beautiful work, sis. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you for being so vulnerable and leading that vulnerability for all of us to be able to benefit from. Thank you so much.
Whew. How often do you think we should do this?
Every day. Every day. It was less than 10 minutes. Every day so that we can see what we got operating behind the scenes.